Right. How's it, my Champilampies is probably how we have to start this because, ladies and gentlemen, the Footwedge crew is back for the Long Grass podcast. And we have a fourth person over here. Very excited to welcome Sunshine Tour member Michael Koch to the studio, our first ever guest on the podcast. Michael, thank you so much for jumping on here.
Well, thanks, Steve. Appreciate being here and I look forward to the chat.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, you know, the thousands of followers that we don't have will know that we're actually very big fans of you. I think we actually mentioned you from the first podcast when we saw that you qualified, and you know, between videos of you diving into various dams and stuff like that, we very much earmarked you early on. We said he's gonna be in the tour next year. When we do this, we've got to get him on the podcast. So yeah, very chuffed that you're on here, and to my two co-hosts, Roscoe, DeBarros, long time, you well?
Yeah.
Steve, all good in you?
Yeah, I can't complain. DeBarros, last time I saw you, we were hacking our way around. Actually, no. To be fair, we were running away from Lightning last time I saw you.
Yard wondrous. But prior to that, it was Sun City, where I think there's still a couple divots in the rough that you left there.
I only saw a few this weekend.
Luckily, the players didn't have to go where you were just a few weeks before, eh?
Listen, I walked so they could run, eh?
Yeah, 100%.
And Roscoe, how's things?
Yeah, all good. Carrying on.
We'll talk about your rounds this weekend. I believe a nice, interesting round on the Friday. But yeah, chaps, it's been quite a few weeks since we've been on here. So to our followers, we do apologize, and we will be a lot better. But coming up, we're going to be finding out who Michael Koch is and what he's all about, and what is how he's going to come to the tour, and what his ambitions are. We're going to be wrapping up the Nedbank Golf Challenge. We're going to be looking at the upcoming events, the co-sanctioned events coming up, really, golf gets very serious in South Africa to the next couple of weeks. So yeah, Mike, I think let's start with you before we sort of go into some of the Nedbank stuff like that. So turned pro 2018, I think it was.
Yeah,
but I mean, when did? But I mean, especially also not only just a golfer, also a bit of motocross stuff like that in there. Can you just sort of take us back? When did you first hold a golf club and decide that this is actually quite cool? And when also was that moment where you actually realized that you're better than the average person, and this could actually be a bit of a career?
You know, me and my buddy from motocross, we went to play a round of golf in 2012. And I told him, if I shoot under par today, I'm going to take this up professionally. And I shot 71 that day. And from there, I just
like
didn't
that.
look back, eh?
As they say, the rest is history.
Yeah, there we go. But to be fair, I mean, if you're going out into a golf course and you're saying if I shoot under par, like that just doesn't happen. I mean, so you know, when you're growing up and stuff like that, obviously you must have played quite a bit. At school and stuff like that, was it always just always been kind of a hobby type thing?
No. I picked up a golf club in 2012. It was the first time.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, picked up a golf club in 2012. First time I touched a club.
So how many rounds did it take you before you shot that 71?
Yes, I reckon a month.
That's insane. So that's actually hard to believe.
Chaps, we all need to retire. It's not about practice. You either have it or you don't. We're done. We're finished. This is a good podcast, yes.
So you went from never having touched a golf club to picking up a club and shooting under par in 1 month.
For sure.
That's insane.
And any sort of coaching, or was it all self-taught, or
Self-taught.
YouTube videos or anything like that?
No,
I might need to find that channel and subscribe.
2012, dude, we were still up in dial-up connection in this place.
Yes.
YouTube wasn't operating back then.
I mean, that's got to be one of the most impressive, like, professional sports transitions I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, you know, I get goosebumps from the most craziest sport in the world to come into a sport that's very chilled. It's been tough mentally for me. It's been very hard to adapt.
And like, how is that sort of transition? Because I can imagine, as you say, like the mental space of, you know, motorsports is high-paced, high action. Like, you're kind of reacting in a very different way to what you are in golf.
Yeah, you know, motocross, it's you see a jump and you shut off.
Yeah.
You've got to put all the fears aside. And I think it helps me now in golf because I see a lot of golfers, when they see a white stake or a red stake, you know, they automatically get a bit scared. But from a sport that I used to put my life on the line to a sport that OB or hazard means nothing to me, you know, so it's just a shot.
That makes sense. I see Steve shaking a lot when there's white stakes to the right of him with his slice. Let me tell you, you think it's life or
It's
death.
being very loud. You come very aggressively, and I'm not sure I appreciate it. But but that's mental. So
First of all, what course did you shoot 71 at? Can you remember?
Benoni Country Club.
Benoni Country Club. Yeah. Okay, awesome.
I mean, so growing up, so as I said, so there's no golf. Was it all motocross? And was motocross something that you wanted to do, or was it just a hobby that you then got pretty good at? And
Yeah, I come from a small town, Polokwane, Petersburg, back in the day.
yeah,
And then my buddies used to ride bikes. And once they came to my dad's workshop and they brought a bike and I climbed on it and then took interest in it. And then my dad bought me a bike, and from there it was just very hard on me. He made me like a robot. If I wasn't winning or anything, he used to not enjoy it. So that's all I know how to do. All I know is how to compete. So he just turned me into a bit of a competitor, and yeah, but here I am today, just living this amazing dream, Sunshine Tour. Eh?
And Mike, how do you find the competitiveness on the Sunshine Tour? I think golf is an exceptionally competitive sport as it is. I mean, guys are trying to fight for the cut, trying to fight for top 50 to keep your card, even to get on the tour. It's the margins are so small,
South Africans are very competitive.
Absolutely.
And what I find from the small tours, RGT, Big Easy tours, the numbers, you drop a shot here in Sunshine Tour, you drop in a couple of places. So bogeys are very tough on this tour.
Yeah.
And that's where I find the pressure builds. You just can't afford to, have hiccups.
Yeah. As you say, it's the smallest mistake leads to such a big difference. And also now it's like your livelihood, it's money on the line, every putt, every bogey. And I can imagine like the scene itself is incredibly, incredibly tough. I don't think people realize how difficult of a sport golf is for those non-golfers,
Listen, the non-golfers can appreciate how difficult the sport is already.
Yeah.
Let alone when it's your job.
Yeah.
We'll talk about, bogeys on this podcast.
Steve knows a lot of them, so
I celebrate.
if there's one person that can chat about bogeys in there.
All I'm saying is that we speak about like rises. I'm pretty sure if we go back about 2 or 3 years, you were very much a bushwhacker. Man gets some stealth clubs, starts dropping down the handicap and gets very loud. We're gonna go towards our bet a bit later. Don't worry, I'm gonna come for you. But so 2012, you then decide, right, I'm gonna try and give this a go. It takes you 6 years, which is pretty mental in itself. But what was then? So you decide, cool, you go into par. Now you're saying, I want to do this professionally. What was the next step? What did you then decide? What did you do after that? I mean, did you even own clubs? Were you using your own clubs when you did that?
I had clubs, and then in life, I feel if you put your mind to something, you need to do it 110%. And I used to live on the range. I hit thousands and thousands of balls every day, even now.
I see Mike at Galuli's quite often into the night.
Yeah, you'll find the barrels 2 bays to the left.
Just mine are not going straight.
For sure. And I just believe that, a lot of people are born with talent, but obsession beats talent at the end of the day. And that's all that I live by. If I didn't have the work ethic I have now, I don't think I'd be able to compete on the Sunshine Tour. So, that's what I just want to remind youngsters and people that are watching this, you're never too old to try something in life. It's all about how much effort you want to put in, and the effort is a reward.
So 2012, how old were you at the time?
Yes, Boyki. I've hit my head a couple of times in motocross.
Quick maths, whatever you are now, minus 10. We can work it out.
28.
28.
Yeah.
I still got time, boys.
No, you don't.
I still got plenty. I just need to put it down for 2 more years and then pick it up. So from a step-by-step point of view, how did we go from under par to Sunshine Tour? I mean, did you just start? Did you have to speak to people and say, right, listen, what do I need to do? And what was the state? What was the sort of path?
Steve, to tell you the honest truth, bro, a lot of people thought I was mad. I had no backing. It's all self-belief. That's where I am now. When you guys know how tough golf is, and
Too well.
we can all have a giggle and everything. But if you had to tell me, hey, but I'm gonna try turn pro, I'm sure you'll even tune Stevie is a bit crazy.
Yeah,
So,
more than that.
Yeah, boy, it's just this is self-made, just belief, day in and day out, hitting balls, and the bad days, you feel like I'm not gonna make it, and bro, it's just unbelievable where I am now. It's still a dream, I'm still a bit set back on tour. Like I can't believe where I am, and I'm having a crack of a year for a rookie year. Everyone says I'm
Absolutely.
having
Yeah,
a
we'll talk about your season and doing well and stuff. But so,
But even Steve, just sorry on the mindset, like I think that's amazing. So you often get told like your career's done, like like you'll never go pro. Like I mean, I was playing golf the other day, and I was just joking with my mate. I was like, there I am, like 20 over par. And I'm like, yeah, I still got time to make it, And he was like, I can assure you that boat's passed. But I mean, it's quite an amazing story to hear someone that 28 pick up the clubs. I mean, obviously you were breaking par. 22 over par.
there's a little bit of a difference.
A bit of a difference, but it's
not
crazy. Like it's such a crazy mindset to be like, and I'm very much of the same opinion. Like it's as Conor McGregor said, I'm not talented, I'm obsessed. And like, I love the idea of being obsessed with something. And it's quite an amazing story to be like, fuck, at 28 years old, if I break par today, that's it. I'm going to go pro. And then, a few years later, you're on the tour. It must be honestly surreal.
Yeah, boyki, this game's such a tough lesson, and every day you think you've got it, and next day you set back. Even us as pros, even today on the range, I was just feeling yucky, bro, iffy. Like I was hitting the ball so terrible. I shot like one over today, but it was just a sclaffy day. And even you amateurs, us pros, we all face the same emotions, but the difference between the amateurs and pros is we still know how to get around the track when we're hitting the ball badge.
We don't. We really don't.
Steve slices one OB. He reckons he goes with the same club, trying to keep it inbounds. I can assure you it doesn't work.
If at first you don't succeed.
Yeah.
And that must have been quite tough, Mike, as well, doing it all, as you said, like without backing. You've got to where you are today through your own hard work, obsession, determination. Because you see, there are quite a few guys who have a lot of backing financially. They know somebody who can help them with sponsors, and that makes the journey to the tour a little bit easier because it lowers your traveling expenses, and so to have done it all on your own must also feel quite good. It must give you a serious sense of like self-accomplishment and show you what you're capable of.
Rossi, to tell you the honest truth, boy, you must remember I've come from a sport that I was dominating here in South Africa. Guys couldn't touch me.
Yeah.
And for me to stop that immediately, I think I chased a lot of fans away in motocross. They're a bit like
upset with you almost for leaving.
For sure. I think they questioned me because, I gave them a lot. And as you guys know, I do the chest pump, and in motocross also I did a couple of sprinklers and a lot of moves that people loved.
Yeah.
And when I left, like, hey, bro, it's not the same anymore. But, when you're doing a sport for 22 years of your life, and the biggest paycheck I made was 3,000 Rand for a win. And now I'm making, my biggest paycheck now on Sunshine Tour is 26,000 Rand.
Yeah.
So I look back and I give myself a pat on the shoulder, because if I listen to those naysayers and the people that said you're mad, you'll never ever come from a sport you're so good at to another sport. They all said you've got talent in bikes, you'll never have talent in anything else. And that's a lie, bro, because the mindset's a big thing in life.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you in life. You guys can all have a joke here and scheme, I'll never, but I'm telling you now, bro, if you put your mind to shooting under par tomorrow, you'll shoot under par, bro.
Steve, I think you might have to take that with a pinch of salt.
No. I'm just saying that our associate Footwedge Pro needs to be listening to this. Get out on the range tomorrow, and you know, I reckon the 2023 SA Open qualifiers, we need to see Roscoe out there and joining. So was it a purely financial decision? You know, you realize I'm cleaning up a motorsport, but there's no financial reward here. I can do it in golf, and we can see if you get up to the top there that it is a big gravy train if you can get onto it.
Boyki, I had a little baby girl. She was born in 2014. And when she was born, that's when I decided I can't give her the life what I deserve to give her. And that's where I changed my mindset. And I just said, you know, I want to go to a sport that can give back to my family and me. And, you know, it's tough because I had a couple of options, a lot of options to go try get a degree and everything. But I said to myself, why try get a degree if I'm good at competing? And I wanted to stay in the competitive game, and that's why I said, hey, you know, there's an opportunity in golf. I see so much doors and how much people love the game. I said, you know, I'm going to take a big shot and I'm going to go for it. And I risked it, and you know, got the biscuit, bro.
Let's talk about that moment, the very well documented, the moment you sunk the putt, you're going to get to a car, the first thing you decide to do is go for a swim. Like, what can try and sum up what was going through your mind as you saw that drop?
Check the goosebumps, bro. Buddy, you do not understand, bro, the mental challenges I've had to overcome to get to this point. I was the best at a sport, and I dropped it. And from being at my highest in life, I hit rock bottom. And not just rock bottom, bro. I lost my dad. You know, a lot of things happened to me in life, bro. And, buddy, to get to where I am today, it's just pure mental strength and never giving up on yourself, bro, no matter how much challenges you go in life. You know, I was sitting in my car and I was busy gassing myself, bro. I wanted to end my life, and I lost my dad because he was my whole life and soul. And, you know, just something told me in my heart that you deserve what you want in life. And I opened the door, and I never looked back, bro. And here I am today, Sunshine Tour Pro, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible story, and I think it's the one thing which I think is what so many people can relate to. It's that raw passion. It's not an act. You know, I think people can very much realize how genuinely it is, just how important it is to you. I think it's been really cool to sort of see that raw emotion and to be. Because let's be honest, you know, we talk about, you know, certain players, and as a fan, you want to see that emotion, you know, because we're fans, because we watch you guys do what we can't do, you know, and to do what we never could potentially do, and so, you know, for a lot of people, for example, you're living Ross's dream, you know, and you know, so it's and I think that's why it's so authentic to see that sort of raw emotion all the time. And please, you know, we don't stop the chest pump. We want to see that and the Nedbank Golf Challenge and all these things in the coming stuff. But so yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal, and I think it's been so cool to see a different sort of story. You know, we see the golfers who are good at school and they play provincial golf and they play out of Dainfern and you know, but like the really sort of the nice course stuff like that, and like it's you know, and a lot of these guys, you know, succeed, but they're also given the best chance to succeed. And obviously, you know, only a certain amount of people will make it, but to sort of see that difference, sort of, and especially somebody a bit older. I mean, now you'll be on tour as a first-time player, and you'll be playing next to a couple of teenagers, couple of sort of kids in their early 20s, and it's like a whole different sort of path and stuff. But how difficult is it then? So you sink the putt, it's like a watershed moment, you know, monkey off the back, you're now actually a tour player. But it's almost a case of you almost have to tell yourself the work now starts again, you know, because it's not about getting the card, it's about making cuts, it's about keeping the card, it's about, you know.
Dude, you're hitting the nail on the head. As soon as I got that card, I basically nearly gave up, bro, because I was like, hey, to all the naysayers and everyone that doubted me, here I am, I've got my card. And my brother came to me and tapped me on the back and said, "Hey, but remember, bro, what did you take this game up for? You took it up to provide your family for the goods." And I said to myself, "Hey, bro, you know, it's true." And I had to reset my mind. And I'm still feel like I'm not playing my best golf at the moment. I'm still iffy and just not hitting the ball as good as what I was. And me and Ross were talking about his cousin, Carl McClatchy, the top amateur in the country. Like, you know, he also turned pro, and it just changes a bit, bro.
Do you think it's a pressure thing? Do you think it's a case of, you know, you've now, it's almost like, you know, when you're playing with as an amateur, you've got nothing to lose, everything to gain, you know? So like there's no shackles, whereas now it's almost like, you know, it's you have to make a cut, you know, I have to keep you consistent and stuff like that. Do you think that is kind of sort of the mental, and maybe that's what makes and breaks the best players, is to be able to almost be able to break off the shackles and be able to try and solve that and just get on and try and play your best golf?
Yeah, but like I was making cuts now in the beginning of the year, and everything was all cool. I was covering my expenses. Now I've just come off a coastal trip, month down on the coast, missed 5 cuts, down 30K, bro. You know, next time I tee it up, I know I'm 30K down on pocket. You know, a lot of pressure going on every shot. And that's a problem. We start holding on the shots, things, you're not free. And that's why when these guys get these big breakthroughs, bro, it must be a monkey off your shoulder, bro, to just have that financial backing for yourself and know, hey, I can get to the next tournaments, all good. But right now, I'm, you know, down on pocket and trying to make it up, and you start getting desperate, you start trying to get that ball in the hole, and I don't want to go in, and it's frustrating, and bro, a lot of mental strength, bro.
Yeah. And I think that's also one thing that amateurs never ever experience. In all truth, like, we don't play for our livelihood. So, you know, we never ever like every shot, like I can joke with Steve, he pumps one out of bounds and we can laugh about it, you know, then he tees it up again and he pumps it out of bounds and then he tees it up and it goes on. But it's certainly something that amateurs have never ever experienced. And that's that financial pressure of like, shit, my livelihood relies on this next shot. And it's a kind of pressure that we've never ever faced. So I can only imagine it must really affect the golf, you know?
Yeah, Boyki, like I said, that like now we're going into the big events, the coast sanctions. You know, it's a life changer if you can find that form you need, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean the next month must be the big month. You know, you go and make a Joburg Open, make a cut. You know, it's the big bucks now.
For sure, you can you crack a top 10 now, you make $500,000. That's your expenses paid for the year. Thanks for coming, bro.
So now, like Mike, like you say, you're not hitting the ball as good as you want to be hitting it, a little bit sclaffy. Do you have a process? What's your normal process when you do start hitting it a little bit wayward and not as well as you want to be hitting it? Do you have a process in terms of like trying to get back to where you were hitting it good, or will you just spend hours on the range trying to get the swing back into the rhythm where you are hitting it good and you can swing freely?
Yeah, Boyki, you know, I got a bit sidetracked the last couple of months, and I haven't been that dedicated to my golf, and the last month I've picked it up, and that's what I'll say, like, you know, you have to meet such amazing people in your life to understand, bro, that this game's the only way you can be great, bro, is just obsessing your life with the game. And the more you obsess your life with the game, the easier it becomes. And that's why I've just taken a sleep forward again. And, you know, I'm at the range 24/7. Like after this, I'm hitting the range. Like, I'm just going to dedicate my life to a game until I've made it. I'm going to give myself a 5-year run now. I've got a small window. As you guys know, I started very late, and I knew that I've got 10 years to make it. You know, just try crack it in life and get some finances together and start a company. And that's me out, I won't lie. I don't have long terms in the game. It's too tough.
Yeah.
There are a lot of kids coming up, and I wanna start a family after this. And right now, I don't think I can be the man that my family deserves, because of the stress and everything in the game. You know, it's
It
tough,
gets to you
bro,
at some point.
for
yeah.
sure. So yeah, bro, just the next move from here is doing something crazy in my life. You know, I did a adrenaline sport, so I'll give myself 5 years, and then I'm gonna do something crazy. Like, I wanna try stay underwater for 5 minutes, put my life at risk,
Yeah.
just show the mental health people that suffer from depression like myself,
That-
and everything that, you know, you can turn things around in life just by believing in yourself.
So-
And you don't have to be in that dark place, bro, where you feel like you don't deserve to be out in life. It's just a lie. We all deserve happiness, and that's what I want my life to just end on, you know, just inspiring people and just giving, like yourself, Ross. I can see when we talk about golf, you know, there's a passion in you, bro. And
Yeah.
I think you know, when I walked in here, you're like, hey, Mark, you know, my window's closed. And that's a lie, bro. You know, if you wake up tomorrow morning and you put your mind to it, I'm sure you can be where I am today.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most impressive things I've taken from tonight. It's just your mindset and how you carry yourself. And I think that's something that a lot of people can look at and take away from this, is just like how strong the mind is and what you've been able to overcome and achieve through your hard work. It's impressive.
Thanks, Ross. Appreciate it.
So 5 years is now the window. What are the big goals? I mean, I think you got an 11th. I think is the highest finished at Vodacom Origins. I think you're sitting 69th on the order of merit, stuff like that. So as you said, you've had a really good rookie season. What is the goal? What is the? I mean, is it just to find cuts? Are you looking for that first win? You know, do you know what are the short term goals? What are the long term goals?
Stevie, you know, I'd love to say I can win, bro, but it's a bit over the top, you know. In golf, expectation kills you, bro, and you have to take baby steps. And right now, I'm competing against the best. I can't believe it, but talk's cheap, bro. I don't smoke to talk, you know. Being arrogant's not my game. I like to do the talking with the sticks, and all I can say to you guys is my belief will get me to where I want to be in life. And
So,
I'm not down, bro.
so can I ask? So we've seen the dive into the dam. We've seen the Star Angels at Peakenwood.
That was my
When
favorite.
or if the first win comes, what kind of celebration are we going to get then?
Let me tell you something, boy. Tell you something.
Get the phones up, put the crash helmets on, and get ready.
If I don't get 20 million views in that celebration, you guys will be upset with me.
So it's
bro.
going to be wild.
No, but let me tell you something. And I hope it's not going to be live on TV, because I think Sanchanta is going to write me a
A warning
accusation
letter.
letter the next day, tuning, get out the tour.
And you say, listen, as long as you pay me, it's fine. Just pay me first, and then I'll gladly walk away. I've made my bank.
For sure, bro.
But I mean, you're developing. It's almost a cult following, really, of sort of the fans, and as well. That's why I started with the whole and the Champa Lampies thing, and very motivational sort of content. I mean, it's very strange, not very normal for somebody, especially of your age, to suddenly pop up and be a bit of a sort of a TikTok star that's sort of rising, and lots of people. As I said, I mean, you're not people. So many people know about you, and yet it's your first year on tour, and you know a lot of people. For example, you look at somebody like a Jaden Shaper who burst into the scene, had a couple of really good rounds. All of a sudden, people know who he is. But you know, you're still very early in your career, yet lots of people still know you because of your sort of your social media presence, stuff like that. How did that come along? Do you think was it a conscious thing, or were you just like, let me just throw a couple of videos out on TikTok and see what happens?
You know, that's what kept me going, is standing behind that cell phone. And I said to myself, you know, if I inspire people, that will give me strength to carry on. You know, boy, chilling at the range by yourself like this every day of your life, and on the course every day of your life, it gets lonely, eh? And that's what gives me power is encouraging other people to be better in life. And that's why I love my social media. And a lot of people say I'm a bit too much, but you know,
There's no such thing as too much on social media.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. The bigger and the more extravagant, the better. I love it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of players need to do it more because so
Yeah.
often you just see players hitting the ball and you're like, I actually don't know who you are, you know. But at least with Michael Koch, you know, we've got an insight into who he is, where he's training, what he's doing, you know, his mindset and everything, and like it really shows your character off a lot, you know. Often when I'm sinking putts, I'm saying to my mates, my champilampies and everything, you know. It's really cool, and I think it's something that a lot of players need to do more is actually just express themselves because you are your own brand as well. And as Steve says, like I can tell you right now that before you got on tour, like obviously guys had seen you win and everything like that, and then that process of you going in, I heard guys talking about you saying, "Yeah, this guy's going on tour now. You know, you must see his videos, everything. You know, like it's like a real good talking point just before you even got on tour. So like it's really an impressive thing to see.
Yeah, like as you said, there's the Michael Koch brand.
Yeah,
Which is cool.
absolutely.
you know, boys, like I said, it's all overwhelming for me. You know, I did a sport for so many years and I didn't make half the money I'm making now, bro.
Yeah.
It's just, and like you guys say, like the brand, and that's all I wanted. Like I felt like I was being sold short in my motorsport career. And yeah, people are starting to, you know, look at me and started to see me as an investment. And that's nice, man. That's nice for my daughter to see, and hopefully I can give back to my daughter because this was all for her. Eh?
Yeah, I'm sure you will be able to.
And I think a lot of guys are like, you know, enjoying it and everything like that. Like, you know, people pick up what you put down and they're seeing, you know, all the different stuff that's happening and all the different posts and whatnot. And as I said, it's something that there are guys that arguably are doing better than you that people don't actually know of, to be honest. But, you know, they know you because of your social media and everything like that. And it's a real big step. So I think it's quite something unique. And it's certainly something the Sunshine Tour needs. They need some fun, you know. Often like golf is such a stigma just across the board, not even with just Sunshine Tour, but like you got to be this kind of a person, you have to be this kind of way, and you have to act like this and this and this. So it's great to see a bit of a change from the norm, and I can certainly say that people definitely attracted, and it's a great talking point for a lot of people for sure.
Thanks, Champy. Like, also you must understand, boy, you know, like I appreciate you guys, but there's a lot of naysayers and guys that, you know, also wish a lot of bad on you, bro. And like you sometimes go out there and you're like, hey, I don't have to do this just to make your mind lekker, because like what I've done is pretty not normal, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
So now, you know, you just trying to keep my card and trying to always prove that I can do it, bro. And check, it makes, even now, bro, I get frustrated because you're like living on the edge, bro.
Yeah.
It's tough, but I know you guys scheme, yes, bro, it's like such a lekker oak and everything, but bro, when I go to bed at night, you under extreme pressure and stress, bro. It's
And the one thing I also want to know is, like, I'm sure there's, as you said, there's a lot of people that don't like it, you know. I can imagine it's like you either love it or you hate it, you know. And I can imagine that some people are like, no, you must just be a TikTok star, you must just be this, and like, you know, as you say, you deal with that, you know, as it comes.
Wiki. It's tough, bro.
I can imagine, because also a lot of guys aren't putting themselves out there in that same light, you know.
And think about it. I'm actually putting the spotlight on me with my social media. I'm
well, exactly.
watching all the time, and
Yeah, it's nice to have the attention, but then at the same time, you've got the intention. So, for example, and I really liked the video you put out a couple of weeks ago when you had that bit of a horror round down at the coast, and you didn't have to sort of say, listen, guys, sometimes shit happens. You know, you do have to have a bad round and stuff. But yeah, you do also. I mean, maybe you almost invite not necessarily unwanted attention, but then people are not interested. So when you have that bad day, you've got a lot more people realizing you've got a bad day than a couple of the other guys sort of going under the radar. So it's brave. I think it has to be brave. I think, to be fair, I think being brave is probably what summed up most of your career. It's that nothing to lose. I mean, a lot to lose, but so much more to gain type thing. But can you just sort of take me through like the feeling? So you make the Sunshine Tour. Like, for example, there's been a couple of big events. Now you go and like when you get paired with people and stuff like that, what is that like from an intimidation point of view when you go and tee it up with someone who's maybe been on the tour for a while and stuff like that? And while you're playing, I mean, is it like, obviously you're a very competitive person, so when you're playing, are you always playing against people, or do you actually have time to sit there and like when you see somebody hit a good shot, you sit there going, shit, that's cool and stuff like that. Do you ever actually have time to be able to just almost take a step back and appreciate the type of golfers also you're playing around, and that you then get to now call, your colleagues and competitors, not just, watching them on TV and stuff?
For sure, boy. The guys are good. Sometimes, you out there watching them play and they're good. And I don't know, from a sport, motocross, you must remember, we raced against the competitors, and golf, you're not seeing your competitors, what they're doing. So you have to play the course, and that's also, you have to, yes, bro. It's been such crazy changes for me. Still learning. Still, every day you learn something in this game, boy.
And what's the vibe like between, if there's a 3-ball going out, what's the vibe like between you guys? Are you guys chatting, or are you guys talking, stuff like that? What's sort of atmosphere like?
Boy, Keith, to tell you the honest truth, I feel, it's all lekker when you're down. But when you start climbing, and like you guys saying, I'm starting to get recognized, I think the competitors, it's tough, bro. You can feel a lot of animosity now, and the guys aren't as cool as what they used to be to me. They used to, hey, you're a crazy oak. But now I'll get some oaks saying, hey, you're too crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they almost feel
intimidated.
Yeah.
Because cool. So what we're saying is that there's beef out in the Sunshine Tour. This is what the Barras wants to hear. We're all in for that. We're going to see that Bryson Brooks Koepka stuff going out there.
Yeah, because it is like, you see, like, golf is viewed as a very traditional and, like, I don't want to say proper game, but
it is a proper game.
It is like traditional, and you bring a different spin to it, a much lighter, but more fun side to it. And maybe some of the guys don't, they feel intimidated by that, because they and you've worked so hard to get to where you are, but at the same time, you're still able to appreciate it and have a bit of fun with it, which is cool.
I'm going to say, I can imagine it's also such a mindset for a lot of these Sunshine Tour players. Like, these guys have been working so hard for such a long time and everything like that. And all of a sudden, they're seeing a guy jump into the river, and they're not really taking that seriously. Until all of a sudden, that guy's making cuts, he's playing well, and all of a sudden, he's performing to a standard that no one would have expected originally,
Yes.
And all of a sudden, now their mindset's changing. Like, this guy's not just a joke anymore. He's actually competing with us. He's getting a lot more spotlight than I've been in here for 10 years, but, this guy's getting a lot more spotlight, a lot more interest. You're on the podcast today. Like, there's clearly interest in what you do. And I can imagine there must be a mindset change for guys that they're actually not ready for that. As you said, Zlatan Ibrahimovic said that you're not good when people cheer for you. You're only good when they want you to fail,
Sure, Boyki. That's so true, eh?
Yeah.
So, it's just, I just try to protect my heart. I don't want to be a hater myself. So I try and always put positive thoughts in my mind, and always try and be nice to people no matter what, bro. And like you boys say, it's tough out there, eh? Like, when you start becoming a threat,
People don't like it.
No, for sure. So you're a loner out there, boy.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine you guys are competing for livelihood at the end of the day as well. You're trying to put food on the table, so are they. And, it's insanely competitive. And I don't think people realize how competitive, professional golf is.
My butt. Yes. Plenty of oaks out there that are good, eh?
Yeah.
Yes, my bro.
Not more that are bad, but but I think on that sort of competitors, I'm just sort of go back to a couple of things you want to talk about. The Nedbank Golf Challenge is what I want to sort of talk about, because obviously Africa's major and stuff like that, and quite cool because you were there, not playing obviously, but were sort of part of the activation, stuff like that. But Tommy Fleetwood going back to back, which I think we're big fans of him on the podcast, stuff like that. But a couple of really cool rounds of golf there.
A big win for him as well. I mean, he hasn't won since his last Nedbank win in
you can see how emotional
2019.
he is.
Exactly.
So
He
it's
was
been
crying
3
afterwards.
years. And I mean, I don't know if you guys watched his post-round interview, but he got a bout of like a stomach bug on Wednesday. Woke up on Wednesday morning as sick as a dog. Didn't play a practice round on Wednesday. Was with a doctor the whole day. And wasn't sure if he was going to play. And he, in his post-round interview, he said that if it wasn't for the doctor at the Nedbank, he wouldn't have played. And his mindset this week, much to you, Mike, was if I can just keep going, if I can just take it one hole at a time, if I can just keep going. And he said it was just a week where the swing felt good and things worked his way, and he was able to get through the week. So a really cool win for him. And as you said, you could see how emotional he was.
Yeah, and another good performance for Ryan Fox as well. He was also right in the mix.
Yeah.
Also great for the DP World Tour rankings for him.
That's going to be exciting next week. Ryan versus the world number one.
Yeah.
The next week was it this week?
This week.
This week, yeah.
Yeah,
This is this
Ryan
weekend in
Fox
Dubai versus Rory.
Yeah.
Other couple of performances. Richard Bland was around there. I really enjoyed watching Minwoo play golf. That guy hits the ball so nicely. Højgaard was out there. Brandon Grace. Couple of.
And did you see
notes.
Brandon Grace in his live golf cap? His caddy had his live golf cap.
No,
on.
hey,
I saw the stingers there and I was like, okay. I was surprised it got by.
What's your take on Liv, Mike?
Yeah, it's amazing, eh?
So
Listen,
here's
he
one
turned,
thing
he
that
turned pro for the money. I reckon Mike would be a live.
That's
would,
what I
you,
was-
would you go to live?
Yeah, because I'm old now.
Yeah.
So, go try and get your retirement
Fun
funds
sort.
there, eh?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if now the pros' mindsets, especially in South Africa, as you say, like, money is such an important thing. 1 week you're up on pocket, next week you're down. Like, is the mindset, or do you at least think it will change for pro golfers in South Africa that, you know what, maybe PGA Tour isn't what I want to go for anymore. Maybe I want to go for live where the money's at. Because if I'm a Sunshine Tour professional, I'm thinking to myself, wow, the PGA Tour is cool and that's where the legacy is at. But at the same time, if I can just find a way on to live, if I can just get a card on live, I'm set for an extremely long time. I don't need to make the cut. I don't need to perform like, we spoke a while ago about how James Hart-Dupree, he made it onto the PGA Tour. He got all this coverage. He didn't make the cut. Doesn't make the same kind of money. But if you manage to make it onto live, all of a sudden things change. And I'm wondering now if we're going to start to see a shift in terms of professional golf, not just at the Sunshine Tour, but all these other sort of leagues like, shit, I don't want to actually go on the PGA Tour anymore or the European Tour. The live tour is where I want to go.
Yeah, but yeah, yes, I don't know, bro. Those are like the rankings and everything's messing up this sport a bit, eh?
Yeah. So obviously the rankings matter and everything like that. But I mean, as I say, if I'm a Sunshine Tour pro, I'm like, geez, PGA Tour is the legacy and the hard road. The live road is, if I can get in, is obviously the easiest route to money. And like, I just don't know, like, have you seen any shift within the players that they're like, you know what, I actually want to start gunning for live or I want to start gunning for PGA Tour? Because I assume the next step is either or European, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know, boy. Oaks don't talk about it that much anymore.
Is
eh?
it?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a sensitive subject.
Yeah.
I can
Everyone's
imagine.
avoided. To be fair, I mean, you're never going to go from the Sunshine Tour to live. I think you'd have to go and make it on the European Tour, make it on the PGA
Yeah,
Tour,
for
because
sure.
live are going after the marketable golfers
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Or you can get through, because I know now, like, in Liv's latest bid to try and get
The Asian
world
Tour.
ranking points is Asia Tour. So if you can get onto the Asia Tour and perform there, that's also another door and maybe an easier door.
Yeah. As I say, I'm just interested to see if the professionals' mindsets change all of a sudden to what the goals were. Because currently the goals are, PGA Tour, European Tour, find it on a major, whatever it is, play any of those, make a cut, the story of Garrick Higo and everything like that, make it on, win a tournament all of a sudden.
Buy a house, settle down.
Yeah, buy a house, settle down. But it's that sort of
Yeah.
it's that sort of goal. And now I wonder if we're not going to start to see that mindset shift with all this money opportunities and live. I mean, and you guys, you spoke about it. Like, money is tough out there, man. Every shot matters, everything matters. All of a sudden you're up, next moment you're down, and it all adds up at the end of the day. So I'm interested to see if this is going to have some sort of a mental shift for pro golfers around the world, not even just South Africa.
Yeah, I suppose only time, and I think as live develops, we'll probably start to see exactly how it does. But so the Nedbank, I mean, must have been quite a surreal experience there. I mean, I don't know if did you ever watch? I don't know if you ever watched sort of any sort of golf competitions before you're a pro. But so you weren't playing, but part of some of the activation stuff like that. But obviously, got to watch some of the golf. How cool is it to watch? I mean, obviously on the Sunshine Tour, with best players in the country, but now you're watching. Tommy Fleetwood come down, and you're watching some of the best golfers in the world. Ryder Cup players out there. PGA Tour players, European Tour. How cool was it to watch some of the big dogs almost sort of playing?
Oh, no, it's amazing, eh? Stevie, Ryan Fox on that par 5. What hole's that?
9.
No, back 9. Down par 5 with the
10.
funny grass before it.
Oh, 14.
Yeah, 14, bro. Like I hit driver, but we line up, bro. That I hit driver 6 iron.
7-9, 6
The ball striking, bro. Yeah. It's world class, eh?
And I think that hole this week was playing just under 600 yards.
Yeah, I'm going drive and then drive off the deck, and then probably like a 3-wood.
I drive a 4-iron layup there, bro.
Yeah.
Just shows you, buddy.
Yeah, it's a different.
Yes, dude. No, the Rogues ball striking's unbelievable, eh? They make putts, eh? Also, United also found very interesting their 100-meter shots, 80-meter shots, eh? World class.
Yeah, it's
They-
always within like 5
5
or so
foot,
feet.
yeah, 10 foot. So they're making, I just felt like this weekend they make like 80% of those. So yeah, we just got to work on that short game, it looks like it, eh?
So it was. I mean, when you watched, did you sit there going, okay, like what was there like a lot of lessons out there that you think, well, these are what the best in the doing, and this, was it like stuff that you were seeing that you're like, okay, cool, now I actually need to know what I need to do.
I just like watching them. I feel like the boys are all good, but they make the putts.
Yeah.
That's what counts. Where those are, saw a couple of 20-footers go down this week, boy. That's
Putts for dough.
interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
It is the difference
Yeah.
maker often. Eh?
And it's, as you said, like their approach shots from 80, 100 meters and whatnot, or normally most of the time within like 5 to 8 feet, and whether that's their second or their third. So if they're out of position off the tee box, have to punch out, they're then hitting their third to 5 feet, and they've got a 5-foot look at par.
And they're making those.
And they're
5-footers.
making those, so they're not, so their drop shots are like few and far between, and when they're in position off the tee box, they're then hitting it to like 5 or 8 feet from that distance, and those are then birdie putts, and most of them are going.
I want to ask you, amateur golfers, on number 2, did you watch your golf on the weekend?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So on number 2, that pin tuck left, what goes through your guys' mental state like when you hit in for that pin? Do you go for it, or do you?
So one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was stay in your lane, basically. So I don't look at a pin placement. I look at the middle of the green. I look at my biggest landing zone, and I'm going there. I'll worry about where the pin is once I'm on the green. That's my approach.
I've got a pretty similar, like the pin position doesn't matter. It matters to me middle, front, back, because that tells me sort of, okay,
Yes.
Matt, this is the kind of club that I want to choose. But if it's on the right-hand side or on the left-hand side tucked away, I kind of know, like I've only got one shot shape, and that's, well, 2. I've got a draw or a really big hook. So I know if it's on the right-hand side, like there's no chance I'm getting anywhere near. I'm just like, how can I get this close to the green? If I can say I get it on the green, I'd be pretty stoked no matter where it is. But it's like in terms of tackling the pins and choosing shot decisions, man, I don't have that in my bag.
Ross?
I think for me, it would depend on what I'm hitting in. So if I've got anything for 4-iron or more, I'm probably looking at the middle of the green. Otherwise, trying to lay it shorts and chip it close, because my wedge game is probably the best part of my game.
He doesn't lie. His wedge game actually makes me cry.
Oh.
But if it's less than a 4-iron, I'd probably try and take it on.
Okay, you see there. So I want to give you guys some tips this weekend when you go Joel. You know, I don't want you guys say I'll miss it on the right, because I know I can up and down it from the right side. You know, you guys were just talking about middle green, so you must always remember, like when you're playing golf, you must always think about what's the best place to up and down from, and where's the best place to miss it, and try to do that for me this weekend. Try play a bit of, you know.
Probably a good idea for me, because I will miss.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I might as well miss well.
it's actually such a good point, because I never consider my miss and what the implications of that are. And like often you don't understand like how the green slopes and everything. So I once played with the pro as well at Killarney, and it was on the par 5, the 5th, I think it is. 5th or, yeah, the
It's
5th.
your home course. You should
At my
know
home
it.
course, and I should know it, exactly.
You only play it every week.
And I'd missed it on the right-hand side, and it's actually like where the pin was placed in relation to where I was. It was an impossible chip. And the pro said to me, "It's like you're dead from there." You know, he's like, "That's never where you want to be." And I was like, "This seems pretty forward. There's no bunker in front of me, nothing." Naturally, I tripled it from there. But I mean, it was something that I'd never considered. I was like, "This place is not bad to miss," you know. And it's just a matter of like, you know, knowing where your misses are and how you can play those misses. But it's crazy. And it's the same to that. It's the pin position in relation to it.
And it's a good point, because if you think about where the best place to miss it is, 9 times out of 10, you're never going to short side yourself. If you chase
Well,
a pin without,
I'll give it a go.
yeah. But I don't think you've seen the slice that this man can produce.
but like if you know, like when I said, like if you know the putt, the flag's on the left. If you know left is dead, you do everything not to miss it left.
Yes.
Because if you miss it right, you've got all the green to work with. Whereas if you miss it left,
So you can see there's levels to this, Steve.
Yeah.
There's, there's
Yeah,
a
there
level
are,
here, there's a
yes.
level here, and then there's you and me who's a little bit way down there.
When you're saying
We just think you get it close to the green. I've never once considered.
do everything not to miss left. I don't know where this ball's going. It's going that way. It's going somewhere there. It could very well miss
when I
left.
said to you, like, I considered like the pin placement, like middle back or front middle or back, you were like, that's me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I could see that.
And,
there's a
and,
great
and, even,
ability.
and even then, I'm going. Well, I hit a 6-iron the same as a 4-iron.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at.
But yeah, there's levels, eh?
There are lots of levels. And speaking of levels, the levels are going up. The co-sanction coming up. So, Michael, you've got to qualify for Joburg next week, Tuesday.
Yeah.
So that's probably your biggest round in your life, really.
Yeah, boy.
Not to put too much pressure on, but it is.
If you get into that co-sanction event, you're playing for 17.5 million rand, boy.
That's a casual.
So you make a cut there, you're making like 100,000 rand.
yeah, it's good money to be made.
No, but so yeah,
That's life changing, and I think it affects your tour card, everything, all the
Yes,
events that you
okay.
get into
For sure.
thereafter.
We were discussing Tristan Lawrence, who peaked, and Ross said, a bit of luck with the weather and stuff like that. Goes and bangs that European card, bang. He's like, it's amazing, and it's amazing how like if you can just peak at the right time, you can just find that one tournament, and it's the right tournament, and it all clicks into gear.
sure,
It can elevate you to great heights.
Yeah.
definitely.
So, well, we're definitely keeping an eye on you on Tuesday and stuff like that, and we will be we will be there on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So
Some of us only Saturday, so some of us got the 9 to 5
You're
on
on-
Thursday,
yeah,
Friday to deal with.
Matt's on the weekend special. Me and Ross will be there during the week. So yeah, if you do make it, we'll definitely come and follow you around a bit, and then SA Open after that at Blair Athol. For example, our Joburg Open at Houghton. How many times have you played that course, for example? Is it something that have you ever
Yeah.
played it?
No, Houghton, I know, I'm familiar with. We've had a Q school there before lockdown. So yeah, I'm familiar with that track.
And is that quite a nice feeling when you go to a course and you're like, I know, you're talking about where to miss. If you know a course, and how much does that boost you when you're like, I know how to play this course?
No, for sure. Houghton's also a tricky little tracker, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, those greens are real
Yeah.
nasty. Those are quite unique. I'm excited about the Joburg Open being at Houghton. As I say, those greens
I
are.
think, yes, I just got a funny feeling the guys are going to kill it, eh?
Yeah.
Is it?
I think especially with all the rain and with it being a bit softer, I think it will be quite good.
Yeah, it's not an easy track, but as I say, I think it's a track where the guys that are able to read the greens and really understand how those undulations and the speed and everything works on those, I think those are the guys that are going to be able to take advantage. I'd say, a lot of the tee shots are pretty reasonable in the approaches, but when you talk about Houghton, the one thing everyone talks about is the greens. They're so unique. Probably the only other place in Joburg that relates is Jackal Creek has also got some quite crazy greens, but.
I know, boy.
Sure. But Blair Athol also poses quite an interesting challenge. It's quite a long course. I think that's also that's why I must say, like, when we found the announcement that it was going to be a Blair Athol, we were so excited because I was like, wow, that's such a championship course. Like, there's a couple courses in Joburg that are really like, championship feel. I would argue that Blair Athol is a much more championship course than what Houghton is. But I was saying to the guys, I really hope that they put you guys right off the back. You can play that course so tough, and it's always fun to see the pros struggling rather than doing well, you know.
Sure, 100%.
So I'm very interested to see the threat that Blair Athol is going to pose to the pros, especially on such a big, tournament. This is when guys are going to be trying to do their best, and it's such a tough track, especially with distance, man.
For sure. No, Blair Athol, boy.
Off the back is a different beast. 14, 15, 16, I think it's one of the longest stretches of holes in the world.
And that's what I'm saying. I want them to push these guys back. I want guys getting binos out to see the fairway,
You're going to see guys sweating, and Madras in the background going, this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm. You must suffer. You must suffer out there.
Absolutely.
You know what I think another challenge will be with Blair Athol is the walk. That's a tough walk
No, for sure.
from that course.
Yeah.
Just the distance between tee boxes.
Yeah.
I struggle with a walk on a regular course. It's like Killarney.
Yeah.
There's that Killarney's 16th. That uphill kills me every time, and I can't imagine a Blair Athol.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all getting very real. We're getting to the business end of the year with the coach change. That Alfred Dunhill back for the first time since COVID, which is going to be quite cool. If anybody has a house, me and Ross at the moment are looking to camp on the river.
Yeah.
So any accommodation, anybody out there would be highly appreciated. So we don't get eaten.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to try and get out there. Yeah, just closing up. I believe DeBarros, we need to have a chat and you've been throwing a lot of shade. So
I've made a couple of comments in this pod that we can have to clip afterwards.
yeah, so we're now going to throw this out into the public domain. We have a wager. DeBarros, would you like to talk us through the wager? And would you like to just bring your clubs maybe into the, because this is what is on the cards.
Okay. So it's obviously the full set of Stealth, the P790s, the Hito 3s, the Del Monte.
Excuse us.
Everything. But no, so it was Friday night of Sun City, Steve's first time playing Gary Player about a month ago. And we had obviously had one too many brandies.
We'd gone through a bottle.
We'd gone through a bottle since arriving. It was real quick. And I have a tendency to chat a lot of shit when I get a bit pissed. Much like Michael Cock over here, I get supremely confident. And that confidence grows with the more brandy that I put in me. But a long story short, Steve reckons that he's near me in golf, and I have no doubt that he's not near me in golf. So I said, I gave him a 3-year period. I said, Steve, within 3 years, if you beat me on strokes, you can take my clubs. The very next day, he was 4 over through 7, and I was about 9 or 10 over through 7. And I saw him whack some sandwich at the halfway. I knew it wasn't going to sit right with him.
Yeah, that burger dusted me.
That's it. The burger dusted him, and that obviously affected his back nine, where he just went triple on the 7th, triple on the 8th, triple on the 9th. I think he tripled the 10th as well. And at that point, I knew that I had foot on the throat there. So that didn't happen that weekend. I then saw Steve, I think, when was it? It probably was Wanderers the next time we were playing. I was, again, a couple brandies down at the Rhodes Golf Day, and I said, you know what, you can have 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
After seeing the last performance, I said, well, I'll give you 5 years to do it. So if Steve can beat me on strokes, we'll have to be playing together. I need to look in his eyes when I play. He can take the clubs. I'll retire from golf, and he can take the clubs.
Do you know what's going to happen? I'm going to no-look putt you on the 18th with your putter.
and that'll be illegal because it'll be a shot.
And then in my bag, dude. In my bag.
Yeah.
You see, he's going to pull out all the golf rules in that day. Dude.
That's it, dude. I study the RNA. It's like I do the quizzes for fun for a reason, man.
Must be so much fun at parties these days.
Yeah, no, did you have no idea?
Yeah,
I
cool.
back
But
Steve to do it in a year.
thank you.
Oh,
in a year.
in a year.
Here we go.
What you got to offer, boy?
Listen, you're going to see.
I quite like that shirt, Ross. Let me tell you.
You want to start throwing around wages? Yeah. All I'm saying is when you see the next Michael Cock video, you're going to see somebody on the left practicing. It's going to be me.
I would have really been there, boy. I would have been there.
That was
You would have
done
found me
before
there from the beginning.
Yeah,
Right.
after this, Steve's going to chat to Michael about some lessons.
No, let me
Yeah.
tell you, there's no
Package.
lessons that can help him. That's why I made it.
Every single person that comes on the podcast, we're going to be starting to book some schedules, some slots in here. So so there it is. In the camera there, 5 years. Ross is saying within 1. I think it's a big shot. I was saying comfortably within 3. So let's see. But to just wrap up, Michael, first of all, thank you so much for jumping on. Really looking forward to seeing what you're going to do in the next few weeks. We will be there. Let's please do make Joburg so we can walk around and we can get a bit of a Cock following out there. Chaps, it's been a pleasure being back. Michael, where does everybody find you? What's social media? We know that you're on TikTok, which is I think just Michael Cock. What's the usernames?
It's a Cockstar, isn't it?
Yeah, Cock. There it is.
Cockstar88 on Instagram, Michael Cock, and then Facebook, Michael Cock, and then
Yeah, and he's a great pro to follow. I think
Yeah, you have
if
to,
you're
you have
looking
to.
at getting into
Not even a
watching,
pro. Just if you're a golf fan, just go and watch.
exactly.
Our social media obviously is Footwear's Crew on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Another episode of the Long Grass podcast done. We will hopefully be back next week. Guys, we need to be back next week. By the way. We need to stop saying at the end of every podcast, we'll see you next week, and then it becomes like next
See you in
quarter.
2 months.
Chaps, thank you very much. Michael, all the best for next week and the weeks to come. And hopefully next time you're seeing on the podcast, we'll be talking about your experience playing in co-sanctioned and all that stuff. Yeah. Thank you very much. Everybody else, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do. Please do smash like the videos, and you can stream this on all your favorite platforms: Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, all of that stuff. You know where to find us. Footwear's Crew, and the Long Grass podcast appearing on Fair Sports hopefully most weeks.